Hi students, I am Dr. Abbas Malik and I am your instructor for this web development course. So as I promised, I will record a practice video where I will show you a scenario and then we will build that application, web application from scratch. Okay. So, I mean, definitely these instructions for the exam, they are going to change a little bit. So we don't need to worry about that process. But what is the important this scenario? So we want to build an application, web server, of course. We want to build the backend. We also want to build the client-side website that contain the JavaScript files and HTML files. And then it will also contain an index file, and this is the main page of that your website. And then we also have an add employee. So we are handling the employee data. So we are making a employee management system where we can add a new employee, we can update the information of an employee and an employee, or we can see the existing employees inside our database, and or we can delete some. So and then of course we also need to, for the backend we need to build that web server which is going to communicate with our MySQL database, and then it is going to allow the front end, the HTML files, to perform the CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete operations on that employees, and then we also provide that employee.sql. So let me go to tell to what you will see. So again, this is the folder that you will have that is already available in the LMS that you can download. It's in the zip file. When you unzip it, so it will become a is31 underscore practice folder. So especially in the exam point of view, so if I say that you need to rename that folder, for example, your student ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just putting that one, and then underscore, and then you give your name. Okay, so I am renaming that specific folder which you will be downloading from the LMS when under the exam conditions, and then you will rename that folder. Okay, and now once this folder has been renamed, you need to open that folder inside the VS Code. So we can go into the VS Code, open the VS Code, and then say we want to open a folder. This folder is actually present in my desktop 1 p.m. and then here it is, that folder which we have renamed. We downloaded, we unzipped it first, and then once the unzip folder comes in, then we rename that folder, and then now we are opening that specific folder inside. So if you see here, we have the SQL file which actually creates that employee table and insert 10 record inside it, and so that is the employee table. Okay, that we are going to import inside our MySQL database. So that we will see later on. And then the other thing is we have an app.js file here. In the app.js file, it is already what you can say that we already have some information which are written down here. And then we also have some to-do task that you need to complete. Okay, so this is what we need to step by step complete that step. We will do that. And the other thing that is here is the public folder. In the public folder, we have a Bootstrap files. We also have the images which are required for that specific to build that application. Then we have also have given the index file here. In the index file, what you can say that we also put that simple, what you can say that a simple uh, structure of that HTML file is given, add employee, delete employee, search employee. So all these different type of files are given, and then we also created the links to the Bootstrap files and so on. And then of course you need to, we have given some add the input field of the here, and then we here and there what we need to do, navigation bar, add here and there. So we are giving some information what you need to do here, what you need to do here, what you need to do here. So we are giving some instructions that what where you need to go and change the data, change these files to complete your work. Okay, and the other thing that is here is a helper file. Of course, here we have the given the screenshot. Screenshots will tell you as to how it will look like after the completion of the index file, how it will look like, how the search file it will look like, how the delete employee will look like, and how the add employee will look like. So it is a screenshots that when you finish your work, your website or the web pages should look like that. Okay, that is another thing. And then we also give you some informations about the HTML tags, their properties and so on. And then the very important file that is here is that text file, where we have given you some sample code. Okay, and then for example, if you look at here, to content tag, so I mean we want to was give an ID to a specific, so we need to specify the ID property inside the tag. So then we have a web server, how you are going to connect with the database. Of course, you need to change the database name here. So you need to make sure that you are writing the right database name here. Then you are selecting the right proper name, and then how you can send a get request, how you send the post request, and so on. So we have given you some sample code here that we will be using in this practice to complete this work. Okay, so these are the files which I have explained you. So let me remove or close all those files, and then let's get back to that one. So first of all, I have explained you that we have these files and all those things. So first thing, that what I need to do, I need to make sure that I am running that server, that my server is running, my SQL server, my SQL database management system is running. So once it is running, I will open the admin file here, and then I will open that admin file inside the, if I just quickly open that admin file here. Yes, so I will open that admin file here. And then when you say open admin, so again, now there are two different ways to handle that thing. Either we use the same database that we have created earlier, Node.js DB, or we can say that no, for this purpose, we can create a new database. For example, I say practice, and then when I say practice, I just name that database as a practice, and then create that database. So once this database has been created, I open that database, and then I can import that file which we are provided, we are giving here in that folder that is inside our desktop, in the 11 p.m. and then in this one. So we have the employees .sql file which is given. So I select that file, I open that file, scroll down and click on the import button. When I click on the import button, so actually if you can see that it has created the employee database, employees database. It should be a plural employees, and then it also adds 10 different records inside it. Okay, so it has created that specific database for me, and the table for me. So I mean, from the MySQL point of view, we have done that particular specific part, started that, so everything is working. So that is, oh, this is what we are setting up your web application. Create your solution folder. I mean, don't worry about that, because we just need to rename that thing, and then copy the folder public, and then we don't need to worry about that as well. So what we need to do, open that folder in the VS Code. And now once we have opened that VS Code, what we need to do, we need to run some commands. So first of all, let me do that. Open that terminal, and then we say npm init dash y. So we just enter that one. So what this will do, it will actually create that package.json file for me. And then inside the package.json file, what I need to do, I also need to install the what you can say that I also need to install these packages like Express and MySQL. It is MySQL, but now it is updated, is MySQL 2 that we need to install. And then, of course, remember that we also need to install the dev environment, dev, what you can say, the dev dependency, which is the node mon. So we will also install. So npm, I will install the Express and MySQL 2. Okay, so I will press enter. When I press do that, it is going to download. So now you can see that it has installed these two dependencies, and then it has created that node underscore modules folder here. The other thing is that we need to again install, and then dash capital D, and we say node mon. So node mon utility that we want to, library that we want to install. Once we have installed it, what we need to do, we need to add a dev script here. So we can say comma, and then we say we have a dev script, and then here we say node mon, and then our main file is actually app.js, so we say node mon app.js. So we will run that command when we say npm run dev. Actually, it will come into that script, look for the dev script, and it will run this command for us. So we cannot run directly inside the terminal by ourselves, but yes, when you say npm run dev, it will automatically run that, and then it will run our app, web server using that one. So if you want to do that, we can actually, what we can say that we can say npm run uh, dev, and now you can see that it is saying that okay, what's going on. Let me see, it is showing me an error message. So let me see what the error message is. Module not found. Okay, the column, which module we are not. So we say we have, okay, we actually here, if you look at that, we need to make sure that it is SQL2, not SQL, because MySQL we have not installed. We have installed MySQL2. So that is the reason. So as soon as I save that file, it will restart my server. When I look here, I'm here. When I save it, so it is restarting my server. So now you can see that is actually running my application. Okay, and then of course we need to start working on our application. So let me close it down and make it a little bit down here, and then scroll down. So now server is running actually, and then it is telling me that if you want to close a server, close server, press Control plus C. Okay, so now you can see that I can also put the slash n here, so that it will go to the new line. Okay, so we are right now we don't have anything. I will just simply say that this is our 3000. Port is equal to, sorry, port is equal to 3000, and then everything is working perfectly fine. Okay, so need to make sure that you are changing this MySQL to SQL2, because we are installing the SQL2 library, not the SQL library, which is the old one. And definitely we want to use the latest one, which is more efficient and more I mean, it's better than using the old one or the obsolete one. So we always use the better options. Okay, so that is the one thing. So once you run that server, so everything is running. Now let's come back to our statement, and then we have done that specific part, number two thing. Then it say that you need to open the XAMPP, open PSP and then create a database, where we have the practice, and then import that file. So actually we have already done this part uh, here. So we have already created the practice database, and then inside we have already imported that employees file. So we have already done that. So that's, again, we don't need to worry about. If you look at the structure of this one, so we have the ID value, we have the name, we have a salary, we have a joining year. We can also verify this thing. We have the ID column, we have a name column, we have a salary column, then we have a joining year. Okay, so now for the web server point of view, what we need to do, we need to open the app.js file, app.js given in the practice file. And then what we need to do, we need to create a connection with this practice database. So now let's come back to the file. So here, what we need to do, we need to create a connection with our database. So if you remember correctly, then we have we say constant, and we say we need to give that name db con or db connection, whatever that variable name you want to do that. So we can create that one. So but let's see how we can use that helper file. So if you look at our helper file, we have that cheat sheet with javascript or node.js.txt, and here is the code that we can use. I can just copy it from here and then put it here under that one. And if you look at that, we need to change that variable name according to whatever you say, DB connection, database connection, whatever name that you want to give. I will say that it is a DB connection. Okay, it is a database connection. And then of course localhost will remain same, root will remain same, that password will remain same. But for the database, we need to give the name, and we need to make sure that we are giving the same name as that database is. So if you listen, it's a small capital, a small, so it is a small practice. So I will just say practice. So And after that, once we have done that, we can test that connection. So we can say that db connection dot connect, and then once it is try to connect that one, okay, and it will, I just need I just provide that the function. So we can also something write something like this function, and then it will actually take the error if there's an error, and then we have this function. So if there is an error, okay, then what we want to do, we want to just say console dot log, and then we can run that, we can say that db error, and then we can say that plus we have this, this also has the error dot message. Okay, so and then we can say that we throw that error. Okay, so we can simply, and if you come back here in that one, so it is also have here, you look here, this code is also given here. So either you copy it from here, but definitely once you copy it from here, then what you need to do, I mean here, if you copy it from here, then what you need to do, you need to make sure that you are using the same name that you have defined here, that is going to be coming here, and then you can write your code here that it is has been successfully connected or not. So that is what exactly what we are doing here in that code here. Okay, so we say if there's an error, then throw the error. In the else part, in if there is no error, then we want to say console dot log. We want to log some information. DB connection is successful. Okay. So I mean, if you look at that in the whenever I save the information, it restart my server, and now you can see that here, right in the last line, it's a database connection is successful. It means that we have connected with this practice database, and now we can start communicating with this employees table, which is inside the database, practice database. Okay, so let's go back to our statement. So what we have done so far, we have actually created a connection with our database, and then we have successfully tested that we are connected with our database. Now the next thing is that we sorry, we need to implement some public requests. And the other thing is, if you look at our file here, it is automatically written down here, that specific. So it actually, it will send that public database, public folder to the client, and we can see our file here. If I just go back here, and rather than I say localhost colon 30,000, 3,000 actually, and when you press enter, so you can see that I can see my employee management system, I can see my index file, which is already has been served using this specific line, and then we are all set to go. Okay, so that is what they are telling here. So in the so make sure that this line has already been written over there inside that file, so we don't need to worry about that. But yes, folder, there is a public folder. Please copy the folder into the solution folder, which we have already, actually we are not copying it, we are just renaming that download file. Of course these instructions will change accordingly in the exam. So write a code to handle HTTP GET request. So now we want to implement a HTTP GET request on the URL slash employee slash data, and what it will do, it will read all the records from the employees table. Okay, and then accordingly it will send back the responses to the to the client. Okay, so first of all, let's come down here. We want to implement the GET request here. So we say, we actually, if you look at that, we have created this web application as the app. Okay, this is the app, which is the web application that we have created using the Express. So we will be using this app dot get. So we say get, and the first parameter is the URL, and this URL is already given here, slash data slash employees. So we say slash data slash employees. Okay, and then the second parameter, as you know, that this is a function which receive two parameters. One is the request, the second one is the response, and then we need to write that function again. You write this function as this, or I will just copy this line here, and rather than having this one, we can also use the lambda notation, that is like this. So either you write this or this. I mean, we are writing a function, we are giving a providing a callback function or a handler function actually. So once the get type of request on this specific URL comes in, then it will execute this function for us. Okay, so let me stick to that lambda notation, and then we will do that. So what we want to do, first of all, we want to create a SQL query. So we say let SQL query is equal to, it is a select static from employees. So we need to make sure that the name of our database table is exactly the same as it is inside our database. EMPLOYEES. So once we have done that, now we need to run this query. We have created that query, and then we want to run that query. So we want to run that query on our database. So when we are running this query on database, actually we are going to use that database connection variable to run that query. So we will say db connection dot query. So when you say query, the first thing is we say SQL query, that is the variable that we need to provide. And then we again have a provide a callback method. So once it finish that execution of the query, it will call this function. And if there is an error, it will also receive the error. It will also receive the results. And then as I told you, it also receive the fields. Fields is contain the actual structure of the database, which we already know, so we don't need to worry about that part. Okay, so we are going to receive the error. If there's an error, we are accordingly handle that thing, or if there is a results, then we are what we need to do. So again, we will say that if there's an error, okay, then what we want to do, we want to say that we say console dot log. We want to log again, it is a database error, and then we can say that it is a error dot message. Okay, so we will do that, and then we say we will throw that error. Actually, when you throw the error, actually it will stop our server actually. Okay, because we are saying that throw the error, and in case there is no error, I mean, this it doesn't the error, it does not exist, error is null or it is undefined, it means that this will be false. When it false, it will not execute this part, and then it will come down here, and then it will say that we want to send some information. So we say response dot status. Uh, and the other thing is that we can also say something like that. If this, what you can say that if the results, results is actually, if we have actually get the results, that will be an array of records. And then if that array length is 0, then we are not going to send the response back. We say res dot status, and then we can say that status is 200 because we have some record to send. And then we can say send, we want to send what you can say that again, what we want to do, we want to say success, or we want to just simply say send back the results. Okay, so in the else part, what we can say that we can say that res dot status, and then status is equal to 404. It means that we are unable to read the data, the resource that we are looking for, it does not exist over there. Or I mean, this is again, this is how you are going to handle that if there is no record inside that table. So we can say that it is the resource that we are looking for, it does not exist over there. Then we can send we can say that success is equal to false. Okay, and then we can also say something like this here as well. So we can also say it is data, and then before that data we say success, and it is true, and then we can put that one. So we are sending two things. The number one thing, success is equal to true, and the data is equal to the result itself. The data will contain the actual records, and then it will also indicate to the client that we have successfully read the data. Success is equal to false. We can also send some information here as well. So we say res dot status, and then here we can say it is an internal server error because we are unable to read the data properly from the database. So we say send, and then here we can say that success is equal to false. And then if we want to send a message, that message, what is the why we are unable to, so we can say message error dot message, we are sending that error dot message. And then we are, so in this way we are just creating on this specific slash data slash employees, we are creating a get request. And then how we are going to handle it, we first create the query, and then we execute that query on the database. If there's an error, we are accordingly sending a response back to the client, and we stop our server. Or we can also say we don't need to stop our server, it will continue to run, but that is again depending on what you want or how you want to handle that specific situation. Then we also have the results.length. And then if the result, if the results has some data inside it, then we are going to say success, and success is equal to true, data will be sent back. And then we can also, in this failure case, we also say message, we also send a message. So we can say that no data in the database. So we also send a message to the client. Okay. In case of failure, we always send a message, and then in case of success, we are sending the data back to the client. So this is one way to handle that thing. So if you look at that, and of course, these kind of things, so we have done this specific part. So what we are saying that here, they write a code to handle the HTTP GET request on that specific URL that will read all the records from the employees table and send the data back to the client. In case of worry, it will show the error in the server console. So right now we are not asking these details, we are just say that show me the error in the console. And but we can also make sure that everything is the client is actually receiving something back, and accordingly it is showing the information out of it. Okay. So the next thing is the write a code for the HTTP post. Again, how we can test that thing? I mean, I hope that you have remembered that thing. We can just simply test this localhost 3000. So, and then we can just simply add the end, we say data slash employees. When you do that, so now you can see that actually we are getting the data out of that. And then you can see that we have the success, which is true. And then we also have a data part, which is coming as an array of the records, okay, that we are need to handle once we want to show that data inside our index.html file. Okay. So we have implemented that part successfully. We also have tested it. If you are unable to, we can also use the you know, postman to test that application. Okay. So this is all done. So let me close all these. Yes, we want to save changes. We want to save changes. Or I will just try to remove these existing, request which we have already tested for the our practice part of our code class code. Okay, so now I will come down here. I will just try to create a uh, practice one. Okay, practice one collection. So I will say I want to create a new collection. I give the name of that collection. It will ask me the name. Come on. So actually it is, so I say it is our practice 01. I will do that. So it is going to change that practice name. And now we want to add a request. So let me close it down, and I want to add a request. So when I say I want to add a request, I give that the requester name get dash all. I want to get all the employees. It is a get type of a request. So we say localhost colon 3000, and then we can send that request. And you can see that it is actually sending me, okay, not localhost colon 3000. It is giving back me the index file. We need to slash data slash employees. So when I press enter, we save it. And then when you see that, actually it is giving me two information. The success is true. And then we also have the data part, which is actually an array. So if you look at the JSON file will be something like this. Okay. So this is more like the request body, which is coming back from the body of our HTTP response. Okay. Okay, so this is what we are going to use to test our other, specifically the delete, put, and the post one. For the get, we can also use the browser to test that application. So let's go back to our now. Once we have done this task, we have created this application, that get request. Now what we need to do, we need to implement the post request. Again, the URL on which we want to implement, that is slash data slash employees, and this will be a post type of a request. And what it will do, it will receive the data, the information about that employee from the client, from the browser, from the user, and then create a new record or inside our database. Okay, so what we need to do here, we come down here where we are telling that we need to create a post request. So we say app dot we want to post. So actually, then we can say that again slash the data slash employees. And then the next thing is that we need to write that handler method. We say request comma response. And then here, what we need to do, first of all, we need to make sure that, as from the client point of view, from the browser must send me those information. So if you look at that, we have ID, which is automatically created, so we don't need to worry about that. But we need the name, we need the salary, and we need the joining year information, which must be sent inside the HTTP request. So we need to read out of those informations from the request. So what we will do, we say constant, we create a em- employee data is equal to what? So it will be like name, and then we can say that it is a request dot body dot name. Okay, and then we have the we also have that okay, not here, it is here. So we have a name, salary, and joining year. So name, salary, and joining year. So here it is. So name, salary, and then we say request dot body dot salary. Okay, so you need to make sure that actually you are giving the exactly same name as this one. So if you have used a different name when you are sending that request, then of course you need to read that information. Okay, and then we have a joining year, joining underscore year, and then we can set a request dot body dot joining underscore year. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are sending. So we collect all the informations out of that request body once we have received that information. So once we have received those information, we want to insert a record. So what we need to do, we need to write a code that will actually implement that insert command. Okay, we want to write a query that will actually insert into. So what do I need to do? I will just again we say let SQL query, and that will be I will use the string literal values, and then we say insert into employees. Okay, we want to insert the employees, and then what are the tables? We have a name, then we also have a salary, then we also have a joining underscore year. Okay, so once we have that one, we want to say that what are the values. Okay, so we say values. I will just try to use, whenever we are using the keyword, we are using the upper letters. So insert into, and then employee is actually the name of the table. Then we have the name of the columns, and then we have values. So for the values, we need to provide the employee data. We want to use the employee data dot name. Okay, and the other thing that is very important here, because name is a string value, if I just go back to my, if you look at that, we have a name which is a string value. Varchar mean it is a text type, it is a string type. The salary is actually a decimal type, so we don't need to worry about that. And then we have a joining year. Joining year is actually is again a year, or it is a number as well. So what we need to do, we need to make sure that for the string values, we are enclosing those informations inside these single quotes. So we do that, and then we say comma, and then we say again, we want to access the code here. So we say employee data dot salary, and then again, we put a comma here, and then we want to write the code here. So employee data dot joining year. So it will create that. Let me close that one so that we can see the complete code here. So now we have created what you can say that we have created the create creating the SQL query to run inside the server. So to run that inside the server, so we have a DB connection, and then we say we have a query method. It will take the SQL query as an input, and then it will also have the error comma results that is going to be returned back once it finished the execution of the query. And then we say if there is an error, then we want to I say console, not console.log. We want to log again. I say it is a DP error, and then I can plus the error dot message. So we say error dot message. The next thing we need to do, we need to send a response to the client. So we say response dot status. So status is equal to 500 because there's an internal server error has occurred. We are unable to read the information from the server. And then we say we want to send it back to send some information back to the client. And what we add, we say success is equal to false. Okay. And then we can say that we also have a message. That message will be the error dot message, whatever that message is coming from the server. And then we can also say that we want to throw that error, and it will stop our server. So in case of no error, what we want to do, we want to check we if there is results, I hope that you remember we have the affected rows. And if the at affected row, if we have successfully inserted that record inside our database, it means the value of this affected rows will be 1. And if there is a 1 here, it means that will be a true value. Then we say res, we want res dot status. We want to say that we have successfully added the record, and then we say we want to send the informations back to the client. So what we want to send it back, so we say success colon true, and then we can also, if we want to send back the data, um, we can also create we the data. So if that is the case, let me add one more thing here, because we have added these values, but it also has the informations like that. I say employee data dot id value is equal to, if you look at that here right now, there is no id value here. Okay, but in this result we already have the id value. So in this case, what it will do, because the id value does not exist in this object, it will create that key and assign the value. So we say results dot then we have the uh, okay, so we have the ID value which is there. So let me, what I want to do here, I want to check, console, and we will say uh, console dot log, and we want to console the results when we are sending the new message. So once we have that one, let me stop that one here. And then once we find out the exact property which is in the result, so then we can put that employee over there. And then we can simply, what you can say that we want to send the data, not the data, and data will be the employee data. Okay, so that is what we are going to send. We are going to send success is equal to true. And in the else part, what we are going to do, again, rather than we are sending this thing, so we are not, we are, again, this is something which status we are unable to create actually. So insert that record due to some reason. there is no database error, but we are unable to, for example, there is we are trying to insert something, we have for, I mean, it could be a constraint that we it is not met. Okay, so if there's a constraint, then what will happen here? So we will say the success is equal to false. uh, Constraint has not been met through unique name or unique email address, so it is unable to insert the record. Of course, we need to change. For example, maybe I will say 400, it's a bad request or something. And then we are, rather than sending the data, we say a message. We are saying that message is equal to unable to insert the record in the database. Okay, so we are sending that message back to the client, and we in success, in case of success, we are doing that. So once we have implemented that request, how we can test again? We need to come back here in the console. Inside that, so here we are going to create a new request, and then we can say it is a post dash one. We want to add one record, and then we say localhost colon employees and slash data slash employees. This is do. Then we are saying that we want to post it, and then we also need to add the body, and then we select the raw value, and then we need to make sure that we are selecting the JSON, and then here we can make that name value, and name value is a string, so we can say that here, for example, Abbas Malik, and then we can send the uh, salary. We can say that 15,000, and then we can say that the joining underscore year, we, and then we are going to say 23. Okay, so we are sending that information. So once we send that information, so now you can see that we are getting back the answer. But where is the console? So the console will be like this. So we can see here, look here, the affected row is equal to 1, and then insert id is equal to 11. So what I want to do here, I will uncheck this one, and then I say result dot insert id. Insert I, capital I and D. So what it will do, it will add that ID value inside the employee's data. And now I don't need this console. I will just do that, so that again, if we are unable to, we are not sure, then we can try to look, print the informations, and then see what is there, and then accordingly we can adjust our code, and then we can test. So this is our how we can if we don't know some information, then we need to put some information on the console, read those information, and accordingly adjust your so we are first of all, what we are doing, we are reading the all the data which is coming in the HTTP request, reading out that data, name, salary, and joining year. And once we have read the data, then we are creating the employees insert query, and then we are executing that insert query on the database. In case of error, we are handling that error, and in case of successfully insertion of the data, we are going to insert that, we are going to send back appropriate response to the client. And then in case we are unable to insert the data, we are sending back a different response. Okay, so if we look back here now, if I just send back, of course now it will add the 12th record, not only. Let me change the name here so that we can Moise Al Nasser, and then his salary is 21,000. Joining year is 2017, and then we can send the request. So now, if you look at that, it actually created the ID value inside it as well, and then added the record here. If I just try to send that request here again, I read all the data. Now you can see that it actually has two new records. By default, there were 10. In the initially there was 10 records inside it. Now I have added these two records. So now we can verify our insert command, our the post request is working perfectly fine using that that postman application. So we have implemented the get request, we have implemented the implemented the post request as well. So what, let's go back to the uh, so now what it is doing here in the task number 11, what we need to do, it say that we want to create an app get request which read only one employee, and rather than sending that ID value as a in the body, we are sending that ID value as a URL parameter. Okay, so we need to understand that where what. So we say colon ID, it means we are sending as a. So we need to implement a new request inside our system, inside our database, inside our web server. So we say app.get because we want to implement a get request, and then we say slash data slash employees, and then we say ID value. And then we again we are writing that request and response object, and then here we say constant ID is equal to. So now we say request dot params dot id. So it will read that ID from the URL parameter and assign it to here. Now, again, the next thing is we need to create the SQL query, and that SQL query will, we are again using the list string literal so that we can actually write the code inside that string value. So we can say that select a static from employees where ID is equal to dollar, and then we can say the ID value that we are. So actually here it will replace this thing with the actual ID value which is coming in the request. And then of course we using the DB connection, we say we want to run that query on the database, and then we give the SQL query to run it, and then we have the error comma results. Okay, and then we can uh, we want to jump again. I will just try to copy the same thing which where we handled here error. So I will just do that. I will do that. Okay, and the other thing which I think that I should have been using, so actually if you look at that, it will also give you the get request, how to implement the get request. If there is an error, throw the error, and if there's a post request, how you can handle it. If you want to write the put request, then how you can handle it. Actually we are doing it automatically, but we can also copy paste the thing, and accordingly we can change these things. Okay, so because I am more comfortable writing by myself, so I'm just doing it. Okay, so again what we are doing, we are reading the ID value from the parameters. So then we are creating the query which is a select query, and then if you need to understand how to write the select query, you can you can go into these uh, helper file, the text file specially, and then you can also do the things over there accordingly, copy paste, and then you modify the things according to that this requirement. So if there's an error, so we are say bad error, whatever the message is, success is a failure, is a false, and then we are sending the message and throw the error. If there is a note case, then again we are say that if the affected rows results dot affected rows, it means that one row has been affected. Actually, we no, we don't need to do it. This is here we don't have the results. Result is actually an array of a single object. So if you want to check that one, I will say that I will say console dot log because we are reading the data. I will just results. I will print it, and then I will say response dot status, and then I say 200, and then we say we want to send back the results. Okay, so let me do that. So how I can test this application? So if I just do that, I control S, it automatically refresh or restart my server. I will come back to the Postman application, and then I say I want to create a new request here, and then I say get one. We are only getting the one, and then we say localhost, and then we will select that one. Not this one. I don't want to because it will actually create that one as well, so I don't need that one. I say local host. I will just go for this employees one, and this is it does not have any. So now I slash employees. If I do say slash employees and we are giving the ID value. See, if I say give the 11 value, for example, then it will send me back the response. There is an error connection. Okay, what is happening? Okay, so it is not three, is it is a 3000, not 3030, which we have been using before. And then we send the error, so we are getting back the response. So we can say that it has not implemented. So it cannot get that slash data slash students. Okay, not students, it is employees, sorry. We say employees, and then we save it, and then we send it back, slash data slash employees. Okay, so we have implemented get request employees slash id slash data. So we say slash the employees slash 11. Okay, and then we are sending the response. You say does not exist any request, so let me save it. Okay, yes, it is saved. Yeah, okay, it is saved. So now let me send back again. No, nothing is happening. So look here, when the status is automatically 404, that is resource that we are trying to access, it does not exist over there. So we say localhost colon 3000 slash data slash employees. So let me first check this thing. This one is working. It is giving me back the data. Okay. And the other thing is what we are sending back. If there is a error, then it is showing it. So let me stop that server. I don't know what the reason is. Clear, not this one here. And then here I say I want to clear. My console is being, jammed. It is not responding. So let me stop that console, restart that console again. And then I say npm run dev. And when we do that, so now it is correctly done that. So let me now, I send that request. I get, so now you can see that it's actually sending me that value here. So it is giving me the ID value, it is sending me that information. So the other thing is, if you look at that, it's actually an array of the data, okay, which is coming back from our server. So we don't need to worry about that. We control that one. So rather than I send this result, what I will do, I will send number one thing, success, and I will say true. And then we have a data will be equal to this, but rather than I sending the complete array, I will send the zero index value. It means because this one is only have one record. So rather than sending the complete array, I will send only the first record of this one. And we are all okay. Yes, so we are sending back that response. Okay, so this is our get request, and this has been implemented. So we say get that request, get the ID value from the client, and then search that employee ID inside the employees table and send back the response. And then here, what we need to do, we need to understand that if this results dot length, if that result has some information inside it, in that case we are going to send back this value. Otherwise, in the else case, what we need to do, we need to do same thing, but rather than sending the true, we say it is true, but we are unable to read the data. For example, maybe I can say we make it false, and then here, rather than sending the data, we say we are sending a message, and that message will be uh, no employee found in the database. Okay, so no employee found in the database, so accordingly we are sending that message. So here we are saying if there is a the if we have read one employee out of the database, then we are sending that response, we are sending the data, and then we are sending the success is equal to true. But here, here we can say that 404, that because we are unable to find that resource out of it, we need to, right now I'm not maybe I'm not writing these status codes correctly, but yes, we didn't find the resource that we want to looking for, and then success is equal to false, and then we are also sending the message. So in case of whenever we have the success is not there, so we are always sending a message that there is some problem, and then why that problem has happened. So accordingly we are sending an appropriate message to the client so that it can display on the to the user. Okay, so we have implemented that request. So the next thing is that we want to implement a delete request. Okay, so I mean here again the ID value is coming as a URL parameter, and then we need to try to delete a record from the database and then see what happened. And if it's successfully deleted, what we will do. If it is an error in the database, then what we will do. And then if it is unable to delete, for example, we are trying to delete a record number 15, which doesn't exist. Okay, so we only have 12 records, so the ID value 15 will not exist over there. So then in that case we need to send an appropriate response back. So for that one, what we need to do, we need to implement again app dot delete request. And again, if you look at the URL is slash data slash employees colon ID. So slash data, I don't want to do the capital ones, small data slash employees slash colon ID. And then we need to write the request comma response, and then it is going to come in into that handler function. And then we say that constant ID value is equal to request comma params dot ID. Okay, so it will read that information, and then we need to write the SQL query. SQL query will be, again, I will use the string literal rather than the single quote or double quote. So I will use the tick, and then in this way we can write the code inside it. So what we want to do here, we need to have that. And if I look at here and the delete put, and then we also have the post, then we also have a delete. So if you look at that, we said delete from the table, so we can get that info, get some. So we say delete from the table where. So I will just copy this part here. So I will say delete from the table. I mean, again, I will just try to make it capital letters. Okay, so that I say that these are the words. Then we have a table name. Table name should be employees, in EMPLOPES, employees, and then we have where class. So where ID is equal to what? ID will be dollar equal to ID. So now it will, we have created the query, then we have a database connection to run that query, and then we running that query here. So we say SQL query, and then we need to have error comma results, and then we are going to. So again, I will just try to copy this part here, from the error part. It is exactly the same. We are going to handle the error here as well. So we say if there's an error, write that information uh, inside that console. I also need to make sure that I think that I put the tab here. So we have implemented that thing, and then we are sending back a response to the client. Success is false, message is equal to error message, and then we are sending. And in case that it is not the case, then just like the post request, it also has the affected rows. Okay, so if we have results dot affected rows, I mean, at least one row has been affected, and that will be the case actually. That must be the case actually. If the one row has been affected, then we say response dot status, that is 200. I mean, we have successfully performed the operation. Then we send back the response, not end. We send back the response, and then again we say success, it will be true value. And then I think, yeah, that is enough. And then in case of else part, what we want to do, let me copy this part here, and then I say that I will say we are unable to find that resource. We say 404, success is equal to failure, but here we are going to send that message, no employee found in the database. Okay, so no employee found in database. So we are, if we cannot find the employee, of course we cannot delete that. and that will be the case here. In that case, when we are sending that information, so we can test that thing. Okay, so we if we look at that, if I just save it, and then if it is rerunning my server, yes, it is rerunning my server. So that is the fine. So what I will do, I will come back to the go back to the postman, and then we have tested that select all, then we also have the post one, then we have get one, and now we are going to create another request here, and then we say delete dash one. We want to delete that request, and then we say we are going to use this one, and then rather than selecting this one, I will say I want to send a delete request on the, for example, first of all, I will say something which is not does not exist inside our database. Okay, 16, we if you get all here, we send that request, and you know that we have the id values from 1 to 12. We don't have the id value which is this one. Okay, so we don't have the id value 16. So when you send that request, so you can see that no employee found in the database. Actually, it is coming from this specific part, the else part, the affected row. There is no row has been affected. It is 0. It become false. It automatically come down here. There is no database error as well, but we are unable to find that specific record which we wanted to delete inside the database table. So it say that no employee found in the database. That is, we understand. But if I say that I want 12, which we know that it exists over there, when I send this one, it will send me success is equal to true, and that is coming from this specific part. And then we can also say that the status is okay. So we have implemented that request. So we have implemented all the request which has been asked for here, and then you can see that we have finished our work inside our inside the now what you can say that inside our backend server, the server implementation has been complete. So now we need shift our focus on the front end, and then we need to implement, we need to create, we design the index.html, then add employee.html, search employee.html, and then delete employee.html. Okay, so first of all, what I need to do again is say that we need to create a nav bar. Okay, so again, if I just come back here, all these code is from the server side. It's a section B server side, and then if you look at the section C, yeah, section C, yes, section C here, it is the front end programming. In the front end programming, we also giving the fetch method that we have written down here, and then we have the add one, so we can add the information, add data. So we are, I mean, we are say input value this, input value 2, input value 3, and then we are the reading those input values out of that these codes, and then we are trying to do that update data, delete data, search particular data, but is there any navbar code here? Navbar code is not here, but definitely it will be given in the helper files. So what I will do, I will just try to copy that navbar from another, I will just copy this thing from my other. I will just open the index.html, and the index.html, first thing is that we need to have that nav bar. So I will just copy paste it, and of course this nav bar is already, I am saying that is a nav bar expand dash small, and then we have the medium md, and then we have a nav bar dash dark, nav bar bg dash dark, and fixed top. Okay, and then we can say that we know that actually we have already created. So if I just save it and let me go back to the here, and then refresh my page, so now you can see that it is already showing me that nav bar over there, delete employee, it is going to delete, add employee, it is going to the add page, update employee, it is going to the update. Actually, we didn't get to say we update employee.html does not exist. Delete is also exist over there, so we don't have the update one. So again, we need to make sure that we are trying to change the things accordingly. So let's go back to the uh, screenshots, and then we say index.html. So we have add, we have a search, we have a delete. Okay, so now accordingly we need to change that thing here. Number one thing, we need to change the logo. Two, we say we have the images folder, and images folder we have the svg. Okay, so it's logo.svg. So why it is not showing up? Do we have the images and then we have the logo? Yes, we have the logo over there, and then we also have this one. Okay, let me refresh my page here. Yeah, we are getting back the logo. We add employee. So add employee is okay, but update employee, it's not an update employee, search employee. So what we need to do, we need to accordingly change that thing. So we need to come back here, and then we say, instead of update, I will say search employee, and then here I need to say search employee. So when I do that, and the other thing is this link, which is the index.html. Okay, so we are going to come back here, refresh. So we say add, we're going to the add page, then we are search, we are going to the search page, then we have a delete, then we are going to the delete page. Okay, so first of all, we are having at the index.html, which is showing me we want to show all the employees, data. So we are here and the index page. Okay, so if I just go back here, so now we have we are putting that employees management system. So what we need to do here, so we have what you can say that we are going to change our code here. Okay, in this one. So here, if you look at that, we have employee management system, but why it is not giving me that, showing me that employee management system? Because this is already there. Okay, so where, okay, it is going behind that one. We have to show anything. So what is, let me remove that big stop part, and then see what happened. So if I refresh my page, so now I can see that. So I will just remove that part. It is showing me that and then we have these information. So we employee management system, we have employees. And the other thing, if you look at our design, so we have implemented that nav bar, which is, we have the links to the add employee or search employee and delete employee, which is opening these pages for us. And then this part, nav bar should be stick to the top, and it should be a dark and should be background colors. It should also show me the logo. So everything information that is written down here, we have implemented that specific part and it is working for us. Okay, so now the next thing is that this is the screenshot which is already given in that table as well. So we need to add a table here. So if we look at it, we have employees data, we have the ID value, we have a name value, we have a salary, and then we have a joining here. So we need to create that specific table here. And then, okay, so let's go back to the code here. And then right down here, if you look at that, it is telling me that you need to create a table that employee data show to return. So first of all, I say table, and then we close it. Then we have a T head, and then inside the T head, I create a TR, and then inside the TR, I create a TH, and then inside the TH, we have ID, we have name, we have salary, and then we have the uh, uh, what you can say that we have the so we have ID value here, then we have name value here, and then we have the what we can say that this name, and then we have salary, and then we have the uh, joining year value. Okay, so and then at the after that one we create a T body, and this in that T body we don't have anything right now. Okay, and then we say ID value, and we say employee table body. So employee table body, so we assign the ID value to that one. And as soon as I save it, I come back here. Now you can see that I have that information here. But the only thing is that if you look at that table tag, show the favor, this must have the style as border table from the Bootstrap. So first of all, what I need to do, I need to say that I want to apply a class on it, and then I say it should be a table, and then table dash bordered. Okay, so if I just come back to the here, so now you can see that it is showing me that specific thing. I can also say that uh, we can say table dash over uh, stripe and the table dash over. Okay, and the other thing is I will say that I want to say here I want to apply a class table dash dot. When I do that, it is actually going to make that header file, header row are darker. Okay. So again, this is what I mean, how much style, because here they only, I mean, in the question paper, we only ask you to make that table dash dark border. That's it. The other thing, if you, they are not required, but okay, so now we have implemented, we have put that table over there, but what data is going to come here in that table body, that is going to be decided by the table, the information that we are going to read from from the database table, from the database, from the backend server. Okay, so for that one, what I need to do, I need to what you can say that we need to write a function, we need to write the uh, uh, function here, so that is going to get the informations out of it. So we say we are make that function async function, and then we give the name. For example, that name is the uh, load employees. Okay, there is no parameter inside it. And here, what we want to do. So first of all, what we want to send a request. So we say constant response, and that will be equal to await fetch. We want to fetch. If again, let's come back to this one. So we want to send the request at this point. Okay, which read all the records from the students employees table and send back the information. So we want to use the same URL here as well. So we say we want to send that fetch request. And once we have the HTTP response back from the server, what we want to do, we want to say the data is equal to response.json. So we are going to open the body of that HTTP response and then read that data out of it inside the data part. So now we can read, we can create that, we can write a simple HTML string. We can say that let HTML string is equal to nothing. I mean, right now this in the beginning it is empty, and then we are creating a for loop. Okay, and then we can check if the data dot length. I mean, or we can also, if we just come back here, what we are sending here, we are sending the two things here. We are sending, okay, so here we need to say results, not data. So we say results. Okay, and inside we say that if the results dot success, results dot success. If that is the case, we have received the information success is equal to true. In that case, what we are going to do here, so we are saying that the table actually, we have successfully received the data, and then we have the, and then we can say, if this is the case, we can say uh, all employees is equal to results dot data. So we are saving that, and then we say for, we are creating a for loop. We say let I is equal to 0, and then I say that I is less than the all employees dot length, and then we can say that I plus plus. We need to write the semicolon here, and then we are going to create that one. So here we say HTML string plus equal to, and then I will use the string literal. Okay. The first of all, what I need to do here, I need to create a tr, I mean a new row for that employee slash tr, and then inside I will put a td, and inside the td, the first one, slash td. So actually we have the for the id value, for the name, for the salary, for the joining year. And here I can put the dollar sign, this one, and then I say we have the all employees sub value I dot id value, and then I will just try to okay, let me remove this thing and then copy this line for actually from here, for the name, for the salary, for the joining year. So here I will say I put a name here, then I put the salary here, then I will put the joining underscore year here. Okay, so what I'm doing here, first of all, what I'm doing, I can get the informations out of that we say fetch on that specific URL. By default, it will send the get request. It will get back the HTTP response inside that response variable. And then from that response variable, we want to read its actual data or the body of that information. And then we save the information inside the results, and inside the results we are checking if the results dot success, it means the success is actually the value of the success is true. Then we can say that the data part will actually contain the informations, and that is an array of the objects or array of the employees records. And then we say for I is equal to 0, I is less than all employee dot length and I plus plus, then we are doing that one. So we are actually incrementally doing that. And once we have finished this thing, then we can say that we want to, I mean, we have created this employee ID, this T body. So what we want to add inside this table body, inner HTML, we want to put that HTML string. So we try to access this element using this ID. So here we say that uh, document dot get element by ID, and then the ID value is actually a string, and then it is employees. Okay, okay. What we can do, we can simply copy the things from here. Yeah, copy this one and then put it here. Okay, and then once we have this one, I say inner HTML is equal to HTML string. Okay, and once we did that, it will show me the records over there. Okay, in case that we don't have the any record, in that we have a failure, then we can say that in the else part, what we want to do here, I mean, if we don't have the success, in case, I mean, we are getting the return, the server is returning either this message or this message, which is the failure one, then we can send, we can show that we can say alert. We want to alert a message, so we can say that um, results dot message, and then we can close it. Okay, so first of all, what let's we have executed that one. We async method and load employees, and then we are response, we get that fetch response, then we have a response, that one, and then we are creating the string value, then we are checking that if it is a success, then we are getting the data out of our results, and then we are running a for loop to create that row. I mean, we can say row HTML. For each row, each record, we are creating the HTML string for the row containing the ID, name, salary, and joining year. And once we have finished that one, then we are actually accessing that table body and then putting that string, HTML string, inside it, and then it will show me that record. And the other thing that what we needed to do here, so we can do something like this, that uh, I mean, we can execute this specific code. uh, Let me quickly we want to have the, okay, so let me quickly see that thing that is required to be implemented here. So we are saying that we want, so we say document, we add the load event, we say document dot add event listener, and then we can say that we have a DOM content, document object model content loaded. Okay, so once, okay, we need to make sure that we are putting something like this. We are document object content loaded. Then what we want to do, we want to perform that specific function. And here we want to say that we want to load employees. So a load employees function that we are going to execute. So when this, actually we are saying that once we have completely loaded the whole page of the structure of the page inside the document or inside the browser, at that after that one we are going to execute this specific function. Simplest way, so we are doing that. So let me go back to the here and then refresh my page here. So it is not doing anything, so let me check. How we can check? We can always go in the these three dots, and then we go to dev tools and the developer tools, and then we can write something on the function. So we are trying to execute resource must be listed, so denying load for this one. So client, what is happening here? Is there any error problem here? Okay, so let me check. We have the app.js. When we save it, it is running. Our, let me close this thing, you know, file. I want to close this editor. Okay, and then we have this file. So we are say document dot, we are saving that one. Let me go back here, and then we can say that we want to load that thing. So it is giving me an error, uncaught promise, cannot read property. So okay, so again, this is not something that is coming from this one, but mhm. So we are here, elements, we have the container, then we have the div, inside the div we have the all the values, my app container, we have a div container, we have a table, in the table body we have employee ID, and then inner HTML is equal to T body. Okay, so everything looks fine, but what is happening here? Cannot read properties of the undefined, reading translation, but that is something which is coming. Message cannot read properties of the undefined. Name, registration, client, localization. So this is something which is, I mean, normally this main.js is something which is not belong to this part, but let me check again. Inside our, so we are inside our index.html. We are sending that response. Okay, so this response is going in. Let me check to make sure that everything is working. Let me come back here, send that response. We are getting back the response here. We are getting, we have deleted the 12th record, so we only have 11 records over there. So that is all good. It looks fine. So what we are saying, we are say fetch slash data slash employees. That is exactly the same here, slash data slash employees, because otherwise it will show me a different message. Then we, okay, so what we are doing here, we didn't put the await here. We didn't put that await function here. So actually we need to await for that reading of the body, and then we are assigning it to this one, and then we can start executing. So let me see if it is working perfectly fine now. Okay, nope, it say that we cannot get the GPC. We have the uncaught error. So what is that? Okay, what is that? So it is index number 11. Before a response was received, the message port closed before a response was received. Okay, we are sending that one. We are getting back the responses, but what is the problem here? Okay, so let me check again, what is happening here. Okay, so let me go back here, and then we say we are say response is equal to this, and then okay, well let me say console dot log. We want to console the results. I mean we are getting that results back. Okay, so we can see that what is happening over there. Let me go back here, refresh my page, and then inside the console, we are not getting back any. So what is the problem here? Okay, we are say HTML, that this is this one. Okay, the other thing, let me quickly remove that, this part to the bottom of this one because we normally the script part is below. So min.js. So let me refresh that page here. So again, we say uncaught promises here, name translation. Again, there's nothing happening over there. But the point is, where is my code? Huh? If I just enter that one, where is so get extension JavaScript on runtime error last time the message port closed before the response was received. Okay, so let me see the problem and then I will get back to you guys. So let us see if we are going into that one. We actually we are going into this specific part. We say console dot uh, log, and then we are saying that we are uh, uh, DOM is loaded, going to execute function. Okay, so we are doing that one, and then we have asynchronous function which is going to load employees. So okay, so we will do that, and then we can come back in here, and then we try to refresh our page here. So if you look at that, it is going to, okay, what is happening? Okay, we are not running our server. So let's run the server again. And then we are getting this one. So, but where is my message? So actually it is not going into that document object model. Okay. Okay, so let's change that thing into rather than I say that I want to do that, I want to implement this simple thing. I say load employee. I just call this method right after it and then see what is happening here. So yeah, we are getting that message. And then we also getting that message over there that we are getting the employees and then we are filling the information. But what is the problem? I mean, this is something which is like we at the event handler. So let me check if I am going to I'm writing the correct spellings because we know that this function is working. And then now let me solve this problem. The write the client script here. So what is the problem here so that we want to identify? So we are going to we say add event listener. Yes, we document dot add event listener. Then we have DOM content. Okay, so there's no T here at this one. So content loaded. So I save it and then I refresh my page here. So now you can see that actually I made a spelling mistake here. I didn't put the T here. So I say document content loaded. So when the document content has been loaded and it is also showing me DOM is loaded and then executing. So of course we don't need this console printing informations. So everything is working perfectly fine. So we have read the informations out of it. It is uh, stripped, striped, or uh, it is a striped. And then if I do that, now you can see that it is also a striped. I also make a mistake. It's not a double P, it's a single P. So you can see that we have the record. So we can also change the things in the background as well if we wanted to. But let me see if we say that we are going to bootstrap table. In the script tag, right, get all employees. So I just had load employees. So I mean, again, that's not. And then we say that apply the bootstrap background color big bg info to each row, mark assure that to make sure that a table show when we load the index.html file. So it will fetch all the employees record from the server and show them on the table you have created in the table. Apply bootstrap background color bg info to show. So again, we want to apply the background as a bg info. So what I need to do here, I need to go back into this here, and then here in the row I say class, I say bg dash, I think to say table dash info. I mean, we can say that table dash info. And then when we do that, and let me go back here, and then we refresh the page. What is happening? Okay, I am applying that thing on the header row, not on the header row. We want to imply that here in this one, I want to apply that information on the row when for each record that we are creating. And when we refresh it, now you can see that it is actually is a stripe. And then we also have a hover, and then it is showing me the informations out of it. Okay, so bg info or the table dash info, so we change the background color according to the our statement. Okay, then we say in the index.html file under the script tag write a function, this one that we have already done. So we have finished our employees table. The in the exam I would say that everything will be done except this part. I mean, you in the HTML part you will have everything like this, and then we in the question paper we will ask you that assign an ID value to the table body, and then rest is all given. You will see that structure over there. Okay, if I just come back here, you will see the structure like this, and then we will also have a body part given over there, but we will not assign the id value. So you need to assign that id value, and then of course you need to write that I mean, even handler dot I mean, if you want to do something on that, the this part you need to write yourself, with the help of the helper files as well. But you need to say that what to ID you want to. Let me refresh that ID here. So yeah, you need to provide that ID here. Whatever you want here, you can write whatever you want, and then accordingly you need to specify that ID here as well, the same one, and then you can put that one, and then you will see all the in case of alert message. So let me stop my server. I will say that I stop that server. When I stop the server, it is not going to send back anything. I don't want to stop the server, but I want to stop that what we can say that how I can actually want to send a message back. Uh, okay, what I can do, I can just simply remove all the records from my table. So here's our table. So I will just try to say that I want to check all. I want to delete, and then say yes, I want to delete it. So now there is no, okay, we still, there is one record. I want to delete, yes. So now if you look at that, there is no record in the employees table. Okay, so when there is no record in the employees table, so how our server is going to respond back? Of course, when we refresh our page, so it says no data in the database table. So we are getting back the message from the server, and then we are showing that message to the client that sorry, we don't have any. Or we can write that inside it here as well. For example, if I just copy this part here, I will also show this thing, but I also show okay, maybe before that one, and then I can simply say here slash tr and then we say slash tr, and then here we can say td, and then we have slash td, and then we can say column dash span equal to um, mm, column span is equal to, I mean, I think that we need to make sure that we are putting that one, we are making this one in the tick. Let me put it into the string literal. Okay, not this one. Let me control X, not control X. Row span is equal to ID, name, salary, and joining. So that will be 4. So I will just try to cut it from here, delete it here, and then put this thing, and then I will put that one here. So in this way, we are also showing that there is no, and then here I will just put that message, a result.message here, okay, and then we can also say that the class is equal to table dash danger, okay. So we are just trying to show a message inside the, not only in the alert, but we are also showing that if I do that and I do that, so now you can see that why it is a column span. It's not working. Column span actually is that an E at the end. So let me save it and then okay. So again, column span result dot message. Okay, okay. So we need to make it like this and then put a dollar sign here. Refresh the page. Okay, it is giving me the message, but the point no data in the database. But why it is not column span? Tr. Okay. The column span is actually coming inside the TD, not in the TR. We need to specify this thing here and then we refresh. So okay, and then still not working. Column span. So actually it is going to, it's a TD column span is equal to 4. I mean, I think that we need, I'm just trying to, I'm not sure I'm able to, what you can say that. So what I can do here, I mean, I can just come back here and then we also have this one. This is the thing that we need to understand, that we have these helper files. There's a cheat sheet here, and that cheat sheet is going to help me on that. I will say, uh, I will just span. Did I find something here? I say enable editing, and then I say I want to um, find call dash. Yeah, so we have column dash. Nothing is here. And this is the card. It should be somewhere in the table information. So we have CSS, we have form, we have input, table TD, call span. Okay, okay, okay. I mean, let me quickly check if I'm writing how to specify, not the gravity, column span in TD. Okay, so column span in TD, so we can just simply say it's okay. See, well, there is no dash over there. So we need to make sure that we are writing it properly. So we come back here and then we are writing it in the here, uh, column span. Refresh the page. Okay, still I think that E is not here. Column span, refresh. Okay, so now you can see that it is actually covering the whole table, and then we are putting that one no data is found. That's all good. I think that's all good so far. And then we have implemented that index.html file, and then we show an appropriate message. Again, depending on the requirement, whatever is being asked you to show inside the exam paper, then you need to accordingly you need to work on it. So that's all. This is what we have done so far. Then the next thing is, if I just go back to the here, we need to add employee table. So when the add employee table, we you going to use the same navigation bar. So what we need to do, we just need to copy that navigation bar here. Here it is. This is our navigation bar. So we say nav bar. We are going to add employee, and then we are putting that add navigation bar over there. So when I come back here, I can click on the add. So now you can see that we have the add employee thing, and then we have to add some informations. So first of all, add employee, we need to add the form here. So this form is actually here, and let me copy that thing from the other file and then put it here. Okay, so we have the let me see here. I will just try to say Alt Z so I can see all the things. And then here we say add the text center. So we are going to add the labels here. Okay, so we are putting that one here in that this one. So we are putting these employees tables so we can refresh our page. So now we can see that we have employee name, employee salary. We can put those informations here. And the other thing is that we also need to add these buttons here. Okay, so we are again going to add these buttons here, and then we are going to have these buttons, that these buttons add employee, and then of course what you will see in the exam paper, it will be more like this. Okay, so you have an if I just go back to this one, and then you can see you will have these things. I mean, you will always already have this form or input fields. Then we also have this employee. The only thing that you will not have is that you may not have the on click event of this one. So you say on click. First of all, you need to start one. Then you say add employee, and then you need to make that function, of course, in the script part. Okay, and then the yeah, so we also have given the e salary, we have e name, then we also have e year, uh, we have the input fields of the input field e name, e salary, and then e year. Okay, so that is what we need to provide over there. I mean, we already given the id value. So what I need to do here is that I need to insert a new record. I mean, we get the information from these input fields, and then we need to create that. So I just try to copy this function here and then put it here. So we say it is an async function, async function, and then we give a name as employee. There is no parameter. And then we again, just like we say, document dot add event listener, and then we are looking do and content loaded, and then we are going to run the execution. Okay, so again here we can also do something like this, like we can access that specific id value, and then we can say that we want to do that. But here I don't think so that we need to do this part. So in the only in the index.html, when we are loading, then we are actually we are doing that. So now what we want to do, first of all, we need to read the employee data out of those input fields and then create that structure. So we say let, or we say constant, and then we can say that employee data is equal to what? We have a name part, and that is coming from the document of get element by id, and that id is actually e name, and you can verify that thing. If you look at that, we have this input field for the name, and then the id value is e name, and then we have the input value for the salary, it's e salary, and then e year. So we are going to, where is that function here? So I will just try to copy this thing. I will just make one more copy here, and then here inside the name I say SALAR salary, and then here I say e salary, and then here it is an year, and then here of course we say joining underscore year. So we need to make sure that I mean, of course here we can also say year, but if we are saying year here, then we need to make sure that when we are reading the data out of this one, then we also say here the year. So if whatever we are sending from the client side, we in the server side, we need to read the same information. If we are sending year from here, then we also read the year from here. But if we are sending the joining underscore year here, okay, then we also need to read the joining underscore year here. So we need to make sure that what we are sending, the same thing we are reading in the server side. So that is very important to understand. So the Key values are the name, joining, salary, and joining underscore year to keep it consistent, and e-name, e-salary, and then we also have a year which we are in. So now we have read the data from the client inputs. Again, if we want to apply certain rules here, like if the employee data dot name, I mean, it is not empty. If it is not empty, it is empty. If it is not, it is empty. Actually, what we are saying, that if it is given, then it will be false. This specific condition will be false. But if it is empty, then it is a false. Then we say not, it means that it is not given. Then we are show an alert message. It must be given. Okay, so we are sending that message, and then we say we want to return. We don't want to continue this discussion. Or and then again, we can also say the salary value, it cannot be zero, or it cannot be less than that value. So we can also specify that thing if we wanted to do that, if it has been requested. Requested by that. Okay, so we can check this one as well. So if the what you can say, that if the employee data dot salary is given, is not given. So I mean, again, we can say not. Okay, if it is not given, then we can assert that message again here. Then we can say that the salary field must be given. Salary must be given. Okay, name must be given. You know, we can say that, and then we can also try to do the same thing for the year as well. So we say uh, joining year, and then we can say that joining year must be given. So if that is not the case, then what we can do, we can send a request. So we say constant, we getting the response, and that response is going to come from the fetch record. Okay, so and in the fetch, we want to send the slash data slash employees. That is the URL, but this is a post request that we want to send. So if we want to send a post request, we need to send the method, and that will be post. And then we also need to say that we have the headers, and then we header is again another we'll say content dash type, and that will be equal to another application slash JSON. Okay. And then finally, we send the body, the information that we want to send. And then for that one, we need to stringify our this object, this employees object, employees data object, that we need to convert that into a JSON. So we say employee data. So that will be safe. So now, using this fetch method on this specific URL, we want to send a post request, and then we put the information that we want to add as in the employees in the body that we have read from our input fields. So once it is done, then we say again results, and that will be equal to response dot json, not the capital, it should be a small JSON. Okay, so here we are trying to read the informations out of that. Again, what else? We need to make sure that we are writing the await function. We also write here await function, and then once we have the data, then we can check. We can check if that we have results, not response, results dot success. Then what we are going to do, and then in the else part, if there is a failure, then what we can do. Okay, so again, if you remember, we have actually removed all of our records from this table. So what I can do, I can just come back here, and I want to delete that employees table. Let me Can I do something here? So I say that I want to export empty. I want to drop that table, and you say yes, I want to drop it. And then of course, what I need to do, I need to import that table again, fill the file, and then we have employees, and then we can import. So once we import it, now again this table has been created with all the IDs required. So now we also again have the same that if I go to the home page, we can see the information is coming in. And then we also have this one, and then we have these data. So when we click on that, actually it is going to show me the message. No, nothing is going on right now. Let me see. We have add employee table. So we are executing this method. Yes. When we click on that, on click add employee, refresh the page. It should show me, this message that you should name must be given, salary must be given, or this one. So actually, it should show me the first message actually. In my opinion. So let me see if what is happening on the background in the dev tools. In the console, there is unquote error, blah 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 blah, bootstrap employee.html slash data slash employees. So we can just simply refresh it. Is our server is running? Oh, server has stopped. Okay, let me quickly come back here and save it. Yeah, save it. Okay, all done. And then I just try to put that one here. Yes, and then when I click on that, it is giving me an error message. So we have add employee and the line number 98 where we are sending the post request. Where is that post request going? Line number 90. Yes, so we are sending, not here, actually add employee. So we are checking that if the employee data dot salary, but we are saying that employee data dot name. Employee dot data name is empty string, and if it is an empty string, it should be the. We can also check this thing. Dot is uh, is empty. Normally in the okay, the multiple languages are confused. So um, we can say that this thing. So what we are doing here. So let me what we can say that console dot log. We want to log the employees data, and then we can see what is happening here. Okay. So when I come down here, I refresh my page here, and then when I click on that, what is happening here? Again, okay, so whenever there is a request goes on, database connections, you have an error in the SQL syntax, please check manually to correspond. So actually, if we are sending the post request, okay, and then in the post request, we are not we have not changed our the insert into the employee's name, salary, joining year, employees dot name. Actually we are not getting these values, so it should not be getting this one here. The reason is that we are just trying to check before we are sending the data to, for example, I will just try to insert some records here, and then joining year 2015, and then we say add employee, and now you can see that internal server error is coming in. So again, that internal server error, it is actually not working. I will control S, save it, and then send it. So now again, it is internal server error. Okay, what is the problem? So we asked it to close the server the database internally. Your message as syntax check the manual corresponding to the MariaDB server version of this, that. So actually it is showing me an error message inside when I am trying to run that query. So we insert into employees. We have that employees table, which is refresh. Yes, we have this data. So let me go back to the original Okay, so we say control S here so that we can rerun our server and then we can refresh our server. We are getting the informations out of the employees data. Okay. And then we are when we are trying to go and employees data, this the request is coming in. So let me again console.log. We want to log the employee data and then see what is actually going on. Okay. So once we go to the add employee, I send some information. And then 2015, and then you send this one. Actually it is not coming into, so if you look at that, we have the input e-name, input e-salary, input joining here, so that is not what we want. So what is happening here inside our add employees? Okay, what we do, we say value, we need to insert the value here. Okay, and dot value, and then we also have dot value. So we need to make sure that we are reading the data properly. Actually we were not reading the data properly, and that was the reason that we are not going in. So that's why these informations are not working. So let me remove that one, you know and then I send not this one. So I will just save it and then try to refresh my page, and then now when I do that, okay, it is let me, my server is still again stop working. So because we throw the error, now server is working. We come down here, we are putting the console. So let me go here, and then I say employee data.console. So we say document dot get element by ID, e-name, e-salary, and e-year, and then we say dot value. So values are coming in, and then I am putting the data in the console. So when I click on that, it is, look, now it is giving me the error message. So first of all, I give this one. When I do that, no, you must be given the salary. So when I say 15,200, 5,200, and again I say you need to give me the joining year, so 2015. So now it is all those things are working. So let me go back here, and if you look at that, the data is going to be inserted, I suppose. I mean, this is what we are going to get some informations out of it. So, okay. So we are putting that console. We don't need that informations, but the point is that our and if you look at that, it is actually inserted the records, but the point is that we say results dot success. So what result is coming back from that, we are putting that one, and then we say there is no error if the row is affected. And then we say data is equal to employee ID success. So we are actually getting that informations out of it. Okay, so let's see if it is has been added. So now you can see that it actually has added, but due to some reasons we are unable to read the data out of it. So let me come down here, and then we have printed the, okay, so we have result is equal to await response dot json. Okay, so we are actually not doing anything. So we say alert, we are going to alert, and then we are saying that uh, uh, what you can say that we have successfully so employee record has been added successfully. And then once we do that, okay, once we do that, then what we want to do at the end of the once we have done finish, then we can say let's confirm. So we can say that constant uh, add more is equal to uh, what we say confirm, and then we want to show a message here. Okay, so let me take this one from here, and control X, and then I put it here. I don't need this one. And then I say that slash n slash n, and then press OK to add um, more data, or press cancel to see all records. Okay, so when it press the cancel, it means this is false. Okay, this, if I say if not add more, then we want to say that we want to go back to the I say windows dot location dot href is equal to index dot HTML. So we are putting them back. We are sending them back. If with these two, I mean, the user don't want to add more records, it's a cancel. Then we are sending it back to the. So let's go back to the add one again, and then I just try to put the Abbas Malik salary is 52,000, and then 2023, and then I add an employee. When I add an employee, so you can get that. Press OK to do that, and if I click OK, I remain here. The only thing is I just need to make sure that I am clearing those things. Okay, so first of all, what I can do here, I can enclose that thing, these information inside the form, and then I put that. I will just cut it from here. Okay, where is my, yeah, here. I will just remove by Control X, and then I say form, and then I say ID, or just say employee form, and then close it, and then put those information inside it. So then once I did that, I can come down here because I have the ID value. And then if I say that if it is not the case, I mean, we have successfully added. So if it is successful, I will just say that document dot get element by ID, and then I say employee form, and then dot reset. I mean, I need to reset that employee form. Okay, so let me check if I can do that easily. So we have that form, and then we want to reset that thing. So let me quickly check how we can reset it. Okay, let me check here. So we are going to reset that student form, or the actually employee form. So we can simply say that once we have submitted successfully, we want to reset that information. Okay, so we say reset. So we have form dot reset function. And once we do that, so let me go back here, go back to the, we have, I think we have already added a bar. So let me go back to the employee, and we make sure that we have saved it, and we have saved everything. It is the new page. So again, I tried Ibrahim Al Ahmad and 21,000. He had joined in 2010 and add an employee. When I click OK, so you can see that form reset, we are putting those input fields inside the form, and when you say reset, it is going to reset those informations to the remove all those informations. And if I just try to add one more, for example, okay, and then we can say 25,000, and then we can say that 2004, and then add an employee. When I press cancel, it is going to take me to the yeah, so we have implemented the index file, then we have add file, and then we have also see some problems, and then we have solved that. So let's stop that video, and then we are going to implement the search employee and the delete employee later on in the next video, because now it's becoming, I mean, almost 2 hours, more than 2 hours. So stop that video here, and then we can get a refresh, restart to implement these two other features. So that's all. Thank you very much. If you have enjoyed the lesson, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.